Now, last night, the music video for XXXTentacion's Moonlight track just got released, and I really think we have a couple things to talk about here. So in this video, I want to give you my personal interpretation of what I see as the real meaning of the Moonlight video by X. Without wasting any time, let's talk about this. Now, the first thing I want you to pay attention to is the setting of this music video. And when I say that, what exactly am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about this space right here. Let me ask you one question. When you look at this picture, what exactly do you see? You could say people, and that's true, but this is people having a good time, specifically people having a good time without X. As you can see right here in this shot, X is the observer in this situation. Even though he may not be in the mix physically amongst everyone in the beginning of the video, what exactly happens right after he's observed for a couple seconds? Well, he stands up and starts walking. As you can see right here, this time he's in the center of the social situation, but then again he doesn't really engage in any conversation. And then what happens next? Well, as you can see, X is in the center once again. He's the focus of this specific shot right here, just like in the beginning of the music video, and then once again he's playing as the observer. Because do you notice how everything is in slow motion and he's looking around? It really reminds me of one of those Matrix moments where the time is stopping and he can kind of analyze everything that's going around him. And when I talk about him being this person who is observing, why do I personally think this is relevant to this video? For the simple fact that it plays into the kind of character traits X had as a real life human being. If you know anything about him, then you know that he was a person who was extremely big on thinking and reflecting. He saw things for how they were and was never really holding back on expressing his true emotions to the world. And that's why this very recognizable mugshot of his tells so many things about him without him even having to say anything. And I think a lot of the facial expressions that we see in this video play a big part in the story that he's trying to tell you. So going back to this moment right here, what comes after this moment is this. As you can see right here, he's not really getting any kind of acknowledgement from the people around him. He's really just walking by, looking around, and most importantly of all, he's smiling. The fact that he's so happy tells me that this setting serves as some kind of safe space for him. I'm assuming that all the people in this music video played some kind of important part in his life, and if they aren't specifically, then the people on here are maybe acting as if they are for the sake of this music video. But speaking of important people in his life, as you can see right here, we have Kid Trunks, who is a longtime friend of X, and the fact that he's in here serves as a validator for my perspective. But then let's move on to the moment where X is walking through the smoke, because right after he's done doing that, he takes a step back, closes his eyes, and starts reflecting. Right here, it almost feels like he's meditating and contemplating very deeply on his life in general. And this moment actually reminds me of something else you might recognize, which is the sad video. So do you remember how on the sad video when X closed his eyes, this happened? Yeah, we pretty much took a trip inside of his consciousness just like that. But moving on to the next part of the video where X is head on with his ex, Geneva. Now someone told me that it's not actually her, but really it's an actress playing as her. So if you do have any accurate information on whether or not it is her, then definitely let me know. But the point is, he's facing her head on, and then as he's walking by, he kind of looks at her and keeps it pushing. And then right after that, once again, we got another moment where he's not directly inside of the social situation, but really he's quote unquote behind the scenes, kind of just contemplating and reflecting. But on one of the last scenes of him, we get a close-up shot of his face, and honestly, I don't know what this face means. This is one of those moments where I think it all just comes down to what you on a personal level got out of the video that will pretty much decide what you think his face is trying to tell you. Now, all in all, from my perspective, what would I say that this music video means? In a nutshell, just like the thumbnail said, this is pretty much inside the mind of X. It's an attempt at kind of showing you and painting a vivid image of his mind. Already from the beginning of the music video, we got to see X go from reflecting to observing his surroundings to then very rapidly entering and becoming one with the setting. And I don't know about you, but I really got a sense of his attitude in this video. His attitude towards people, and specifically, he doesn't always want to be in the center. He's okay with kind of lurking in the dark and observing people instead of actually being in the mix. And just the dark aesthetic that we see right here plays perfectly into who X really was. To me, he was a dark personality, but then again, he always had a perfect way of kind of turning on the light inside of him. The fact that he was in the middle of the mix at one point and he still didn't get acknowledged is telling me one thing and one thing only. He didn't want you to put all the focus entirely on him, but he also wanted you to have some kind of consideration to the atmosphere he was surrounded by. Because if you think about it, he's not really the only focus here. All the positivity in the video surrounding him also plays a role in what he's trying to tell you. And just like the sad music video here, we get the chance to take a trip into his mind, but this time, instead of him being the center of attention, he took a step back and used this setting right here as a way to show off his appreciation for everything that he has in his life. And he even embraced his past with the help of his ex. And the crazy thing about this video though is the fact that at the end, during this moment, it almost feels like X knew that his time was up. He was the type of artist who would rather die for what he stood for, and there was no other option. And I truly believe that he had it in the back of his mind that whenever he does leave leave us, this is how he wants us to remember him.